All right. Hello, everybody. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm coming at you with another car video. I think I mentioned this in my first video, but my main idea for my channel was doing these car videos, and I think right now I've got a really good setup that I like, and it's going well, so I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to take you guys along with me today because I am currently driving to go look at a potential land buying opportunity, I guess. One of the other things that I wanted to touch on in my channel, basically my channel, obviously, like I said in my first video, is just going to be about my life, but things that are happening in my life right now is I am now established enough in my career, and I now make enough money to kind of start looking into one of my biggest dreams, which is buying land and building my dream house on that land. And so I have always constantly, since I was at least 16, been looking at land in the area of where I live, just because obviously it's been my biggest dream, and it's something that it's basically the thing that I've always wanted to do with my money. And so I've been looking into it, and just recently I've been actually really looking into it and getting in contact. I have 2 different land guys right now that I'm constantly texting, asking about new listings and all that sort of stuff. And so while I was on my way to this property, I really just wanted to talk to you guys about land buying and everything that kind of goes along with that, and my experience, and just kind of, I guess, educate you guys on what the experience is like if you want to know. For those of you who aren't watching this right when it comes out, which is probably all of you, it is currently summer of 2022. And if that doesn't mean anything to you because you're in future years and you don't know what that means, basically right now we're kind of in the middle of a recession-ish. Not really a recession, but kind of. Land prices are astronomical. Home prices are astronomical. It's really, prices of everything basically have gone up, and it's kind of crazy. The cost of living anywhere in the U.S. right now is absolutely insane. But especially where I live, it's crazy. And so the market is so competitive you can't even, people are coming in to buy $1 million homes with cash, just straight cash. And you're like, how do you even have enough cash to be able to buy $1 million house? How do you have that amount of cash? It's crazy. And so for those of you who don't know anything about buying homes or buying land, cash outbids anything else. If you can pay cash on a property, that they pretty much are almost always going to pick you, because obviously they want the cash up front. They don't want to have a risk in their buying or selling process, so they want you to, if possible, to be able to put cash down, right? Which is unfeasible for a lot of normal people, including myself. I do not have, my budget is around, the max of my budget is around $200,000 for this land that, and I'm telling you that's the max, and I do not have 200 grand to just smack down on a piece of land, okay? I don't know who does. I don't know who these people are who are crazy and who are buying that crazy amount of land. But anyways, so the market is extremely competitive, and people would tell you, my parents tell me that I'm crazy for wanting to buy land right now, that I'm crazy for even looking, and they're right, I am crazy, but obviously, like I told you guys, it's been a dream of mine since I was very, very little, and so, I have to, kind of. It's the thing that I want to do with my money, it's the thing that I've always wanted to do, and now that I have the money to be able to do it, I want to start, obviously. So I've been looking, intentionally looking for about, I'd say, 2 months-ish, and there was one property that I saw. First of all, just to preface, I have very specific like ideas in my head of what I want a property to look like, what I want it to be like, because obviously it's my dream, and I'm not going to put down $200,000 if it's not perfect on a property, right? And also to clarify, I'm looking at just like undeveloped land, like just grass, trees, weeds, land, no houses on it or anything like that, just strictly land, so I can build my dream house someday. But yeah, $200,000 for that. I mean, obviously it's a lot, right? So I need the land to be pretty much perfect. What my specific requirements and things that I think everybody should take into account when they're looking at buying land or investing in any property in the country is, number one, are the roads paved? Does it have easy access to highways to be able to commute to your job? Does it have like schools near it? Are the schools good? Are they top tier? Are they, medium? Are the school zones, there? Are they like well protected? All that sort of stuff. Are the streets, if they're paved, are they quiet? Are they safe? Then you have things like, where's the nearest grocery store? Is it 15 minutes away? Is it 30 minutes away? You have to take that into account, because you can't make any late night, last minute grocery runs if the nearest grocery store is an hour away. Things like medical care, medical facilities, like, veterinary clinics for your pets, or obviously like urgent cares. If you have kids, you have to take that into account and where they are, and if there's easy access to them, like on highways. So there's just a lot of stuff that you have to take into account when it comes to the location of your land. And the one that I'm going to look at is actually, I'm excited about it. It's pretty promising. It's within, so obviously you have to do kind of a balancing act when it comes to what you need, what your budget is, and how far you're willing to drive for your job, right? Because the farther out you get from the city, the less the land costs, right? But the farther out you get from the city, the more you're going to spend on gas, the more you're going to drive. And I've never had an issue with driving. I actually love driving, but obviously even like your love of driving has its limits. So I don't want to be driving 2 hours to work every day. I just don't want to do that. So location is a big factor for me in accordance with where my job is. And at the moment, within an hour distance of the current location that I'm going to look at, there's like 10 different locations for my job. So that's perfect. And I'm excited about that. So the location for this one looks really promising. Also, the other things that I have to take into account when I'm looking at land, just for me personally, is, are there lots of trees? Is there lots of tree coverage? My thing, and what my vision, I guess, for my land is that I would, like, you wouldn't be able to see my house from the street. I would have like trees surrounding the entirety of my property, kind of like a fence, but with trees, so that you couldn't, like, it was private and secluded and you couldn't see from the outside in, because that's one of my biggest things is I don't want people to be able to like see my house from the street. I want it to feel, like you're in the country, like you're away from society, not in like a creepy way, but in like a relaxing way, right? I want it to feel like you're driving there and you're driving away from all of your problems, So that's a big thing, is like tree coverage. Are there trees on the property? And if there aren't, what would it cost to put trees on the property? What would it cost to put mature trees on the property? The other thing is, if there are trees, is it heavily wooded areas? And if there are heavily wooded areas, what would it cost to clear those areas? What would it cost to just strip that down to just the big trees? Then you have to also think about, like fencing. How much fencing will you need for the property? How big? How much acreage is the property? Because obviously the more acres you have, the more fencing you'll need and the more you have to pay for that. And, there's obviously a million other things that you have to take into account, but those are just the things that I think are probably should be top of the mind when you're going to look at this property and when you're going to see. Also, like I said before, you need to make sure that if the roads aren't paved, are they rocked? Like, if there was, a torrential downpour, would you be able to get to work and get out of your home? Just things like that should be kind of top of your mind as you're going to look at land. So yeah, those are all the answers to those questions are going to be basically answered by me driving to this property. I'm kind of going to keep my head on a swivel this whole time, seeing is the drive easy? Is it smooth? Is there lots of construction? Is there, major highways that lead into the area? All that sort of stuff. And yeah, I'm just really excited, and I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about the land buying experience because I think it is a pretty unique experience for somebody my age. And I wanted to kind of touch on it for any young people who might be watching this who feel like they, can't buy land, or, that's an adult thing is investing in properties. Because technically what I'm doing is I'm going to invest in a property. Now, my plan is not to resell it. My plan is to build my dream home on it and live there for the rest of my life. But, if your plan is to, hold it for a couple years and resell it, you also need to make sure, and just in general, you need to make sure that it's in an up-and-coming area, that it's in an area that will only increase in prices, right? So, when you buy your land at, say, you're buying it at $200,000, you want to make sure that the land is going to be worth more than that in the future, right? And you want to make sure that it's in an area that's kind of up-and-coming. And so you protect your investment, basically. For those of you who want to know kind of about the owner or the financing side that I have to receive, so obviously, like I said earlier, I don't have cash. So for me, even though I'm a 19-year-old with very established credit, established being I got a credit card right when I turned 18, and I have never had a late payment, constantly paid it off. My credit score is excellent. Even with that, the max amount that any lender is willing to loan me, a 19-year-old, is $50,000 maximum, right? Okay, and those interest rates are crazy, obviously, because 19-year-olds traditionally aren't a good investment, right? So pretty early on, I knew that my only option would be owner financing, which, for those of you who don't know, owner financing is when the owner basically, you just pay them, right? And you pay them the interest. So the owner of the property. So when you buy the land and put the down payment down, you get the deed to the land and it's in your name, but your monthly payments to make on that land, you're paying directly to the owner. A lot of times with owner financing, another good thing is that you can pay it off early with no penalties. So I probably will be making more money in the future. If I am willing and able to pay this land off early, I will be able to do that with the owner. And so owner financing is a lot just more personal. And honestly, it's really my only option because obviously nobody else is willing to loan me money, despite the fact that I've tried really hard to get a good credit score and everything. They still, obviously, I'm not even 20 yet, so I'm not the greatest investment that they see that they could make. And this particular property is owner financed, and the APR is lower than any of the other financing options I looked into. It's a 15-year for those of you who want to know. My land buying experience, I've seen a 10% down payment with owner financing. I don't know how it is in other places, but where I live, and the services, I guess, and the real estate brokers that I have talked to have only told me about 10% down payment, so I don't know if there's larger down payments other places. I'm not sure. So yeah, the one I'm looking at is a 10% down payment, 15-year loan at 12% interest. So obviously for any of you who are in like the finance world and like heavily involved in that, like I am, I know 12% interest sounds really high, but I'm telling you, it's the lowest that I've been offered because of obviously all of my other, just all the circumstances, like the fact that I'm only 19. And so, yeah, it's looking to be a really good option, and I'm really excited. And I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about it because it's something that's, you know, pretty happening in my life. And there's been a lot of people who have asked me throughout this process why I'm not waiting. Like, this is obviously probably like the worst time you could buy land, is right now in the conditions, the current like economic conditions of the US and of where I live specifically. But when people ask why now, I'm just like, why not, right? Like, I have the money, and there's really nothing else that I want to do with my money than to buy land. And so that's, by God, that's what I'm going to do. And, you know, obviously I'm not, like I said before, I'm not going to buy land that isn't perfect. So it has to be perfect, but I'm going to look and search until I find the perfect piece of land, right, for me. And so, yeah, I will update you guys, I think, a little bit later, maybe, on either as an attachment to the later part of this video or in another video itself on just, you know, how it's going and whether the land was promising or not and whether I'm looking at other options or not. And yeah, I'll continue to update you guys on my land buying journey because I think it's something that not a lot of people talk about. And I think it's, as a person who was just getting into this, you know, when I was 16 and looking at it and being interested in it, I think I would have loved a video like this kind of telling me the ins and outs of the real estate market and especially the rural real estate market and all that sort of stuff. So this will probably be not like a formal official series, but kind of as this just progresses in my life, and I just want to talk about it. So thank you guys so much for listening. Love, Emma.